Hey everybody, Karen Bryant here with
Angela Overkill Hill.
and welcome to What
What?
Had Happened Was. What Had Happened Was.
I think I
What?
got it right?
I think so.
Yeah, I did it.
It's awesome. Okay, so here's the thing, folks. I'm even confused, Angela, because now I don't even know. Is it fight week again for you?
I mean, it should be, but it isn't because Rebus wasn't going to be able to make weight in 2 weeks, so we pushed it back to 4 weeks from the original fight date. But I just saw an article this week. I hit you up because I was like, I got a fucking sore throat. I'm so pissed off. I saw an article that Rebus has symptoms. She has COVID symptoms, and she was like struggling to walk, and she was coughing and shit. And yeah, I was just a little pissed because it said, I don't know if it meant that she had symptoms this Wednesday or last Wednesday, but I think it meant last Wednesday, like the Wednesday before we shook hands and squared off. And I was like, damn it, I shouldn't have shook her fucking hand. I didn't want people to be all like, you should have shook her hand. Why did you shake her hand? Like they were when I fought Watterson. So I was
Right.
like, I'm gonna fucking shake her hand. And I'm like, I'm never listening to people again. I'm never gonna shake hands with people until after we fight each other. And then doesn't matter because we already rolled around on top of each other, sweated in each other's mouths. But yeah, like unfortunately Rebus has symptoms. I mean, if she makes it to the fight, fortunately for me, I'm not gonna lie, like I think it does slow you down. It takes a
Heck
little pep
yeah.
out of your step. Yeah, fingers crossed she's not messed up too bad and has to pull out or just gets, horribly sick. So fingers crossed for that. And yeah, I've just been training, trying to stay in shape, trying to get as many rounds in as I can, and just reinforcing the stuff that I worked on for 5 weeks to fight her, just reinforcing that, working on some new tricks too that I might be able to do. And what is it, 3 weeks now? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's tough because even last week when we were doing the show, I had mentioned that Amanda had heard that she was feeling some symptoms. And at the time I was like, ooh, I'm not sure I was supposed to say that. But then I did feel bad. I'm not going to lie. But then she put it out on her social media and stuff. And so I felt a little bit better about that. But I am disappointed. It's unfortunate. And the other thing that's scary is the fact that it's the second time she's having it because you and I have both also had it before, and I really am trying to convince myself that I can't catch it again. You know what I mean? And so the fact that she has caught it, and unfortunately, I know it's a really bad situation in Brazil, and obviously with training and you're in close quarters, it's just really tough. So hopefully she feels better. And gets out of it. But we did have UFC 262 last night, which was great. And we had kind of lightweight showcase in the co-main event and the main event. Charles Oliveira was crowned the new champion. I'm not gonna lie, Angie, I love me some Charles Oliveira. Like I have for a really long time. I've been a fan of his for a really long time. I really like him. I think he's incredible. Not just his ability, he holds the records with submissions, and now he's got the most wins in the lightweight history in terms of the longest win streak. And Benny's in like second place with that. But Charles is just one of those guys who went on such a long tear, really did the work to work himself up to a title shot and earned it, like in the old-fashioned, hardworking, from the favela way. And there's something about it's hard not to really feel for him and to get behind him as a champion, knowing where he came from, knowing what he went through, knowing the adversity he faced in the first round to come through. I was screaming, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, don't stop this fight. Like, I just didn't want it stopped. I'm not even saying, because Chandler's a good dude. I'm just saying, I just didn't want it stopped by the ref. You know what I mean? And then it turned around, but like,
good thing a certain somebody wasn't reffing the fight.
I'm saying, right. So, whatever. I thought it played out well. I thought Chandler proved he deserved to be there 100%. 100%. But I'm not going to lie. I think Charles Oliveira had earned it, and I'm glad that he was crowned champion.
For sure. Like, dude, I'm not even as big of a Oliveira fan as you are. Not because I don't like his fights. It's just like he's floated. Is that how you
Yeah,
say? He floats. He
floated
floated
under your
under the
radar.
Yeah, he floated under the radar for so long. Like, if I go back and watch all of his last 8 fights, I'd be like, holy shit! Like, why wasn't I on this train? You know. So it's really impressive that he's been just chugging along, just staying focused, just destroying people, and now he finally got that shot deservingly, and now he won it. Like, it's always like, oh, they work up to this point, and then it's like, okay, put two guys in there. And this is why high ranked people don't want to fight lower ranked people, because Michael Chandler, like, if he hadn't come in and done what he did, he wouldn't be ranked, or he wouldn't be ranked as high as he is. And he can put anyone out at any time. So it really is like a dangerous fight for anyone. Michael Chandler's a dangerous fight for anyone. There's a game plan there. Like, you saw it with the Hooker fight, you saw it with Oliveira's fight to like chop those legs, and he really doesn't like that. But, like, how many times are you going to land a leg kick before he drops you? Like, that's the scary part. It's like, is it worth it? So yeah, I was really happy that he, like, struggled through that adversity, was able to, like, get back going, like, just nail him. Like, I did not expect that to happen. Just like the first shot landed, drops Chandler of all things. Like, I did not expect that to happen, and it was just an insane back and forth 2-round fight, like barely 2-round fight.
Right.
And it was epic. It was amazing. It was an amazing moment to witness.
It really was. It really was. So Charles got a performance bonus for that. I did do my after the facts video, but so yeah, Charles got a performance bonus for that. And yeah, like, it was just one of those, and thankfully, I guess, because it was a title fight and they let it go a little bit because, the reffing, you never know. Like, the judging was hella wonky during the night.
Yeah, which one?
Well, the Lando Venata one was weird, right? Because, like, on one of them, they'll give 30-27 to the other dude, and then one judge will see it as a split decision, and then one guy, you're like, wait, what? Like, what? What happened?
No, that was crazy. What happened?
What happened?
What happened to your scorecard?
What happened with the scorecards? But yeah, so for me, to see Oliveira crowned like that, like I said, just is a testament to hard work. And that was the last fight that I got to work before pandemic, right? Before COVID went crazy in Brasilia. I was working with Dan Hardy, and Kevin Lee was fighting Charles Oliveira, and it hurt me because Kevin's a good dude, and that was like, I don't like seeing Kevin lose, and Kevin is one of those guys that people love to just pile on. And crap on when he doesn't win.
Why.
Like, I don't know why. I don't want to go there as to why, but Kevin Lee is a magnet for crappy people. And it bums me out,
Yeah,
it
sure.
really bums me out because he is a good dude. Bought his mama a house and, like, all that, like, the Kevin Lee hate really does bother me a lot. So anyway, it bothered me to see him lose, but I'm such an Oliveira fan. You know what I mean? It's a weird moment for me.
That's what happened.
But again, the favela, his pride from where he's from, him saying that all the time, favela, we did it, we this, we that. I think he's just a terrific champ. I'm just really happy for him.
Yeah, me too. That was awesome to see. Yay, your boy did it. You did it. Yeah.
Okay,
now you can have an interview with him in Portuguese.
I know. I have to, and I love his blonde hair, and I sent my friend a picture from the stare down, and it was his profile. I'm like, he is the Lizard King. And I think he is awesome, like, but he is the Lizard King. Like, he is an alien. I think I'm not 100% convinced he's of this earth.
You know what he looks like? You know what he looks like with the yellow hair? He looks like a chocobo. The long ones. Not this one, but like kind of this one on top.
This is what I'm saying.
That's what he looks like. But he looks like a chocobo. Like, you could jump on him and ride him to, like, mid-card.
So I also, though, was torn. The co-main event, I'm a big Tony Ferguson fan. Always have been. I think he's one of a kind. I love watching him fight. I have some great interviews that I've done with him in the past, and he is his own kind of man, you know, for sure. But I
Yeah.
love that about him. But Beneil is a sweetheart, and Beneil is a guy that I literally have told on multiple occasions if I had had a sister, I would have introduced her to Beneil. Like, Beneil is the kind of guy you want in your family,
Yeah.
and he can throw down and fight. So, like, I really was very happy for Benny in this fight. He talked about, we did an interview before this fight, he talks about the octagon being 15 selfish minutes for him and just where he gets to let everything go. And he was so confident going into this fight, and he really just had such a commanding performance.
Yeah, he just dominated, you know, like Tony really didn't have any moments there. Even with the Justin Gaethje fight, Tony at least landed that uppercut and dropped him. And, you know, the entire time you were waiting to see if Tony could do it again. But in this fight, he just kind of got drowned, you know. It felt like Beneil was a blanket in everything he did. Like, especially there was like that one moment where he threw this like crazy up and high low combination and then went for a shot, and I'm just like, whoa. Excuse me.
Hello.
Oh, no,
The Rona. Corona.
oh my goodness.
Look at the gun show.
I know,
You're
right?
yoked.
All that coffee made my entire body flex.
Totally.
Okay.
That's the only reason I don't mind smoking weed so much, because it's like an ab workout when you cough. Like,
And when you get the giggles.
I know.
Yeah. That gets that lower pack.
You're right, the lower one, because my abs are pretty cut right now.
Oh, nice. Somebody did make you laugh, girl. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, he went for that crazy like high-low combination and then got the takedown. And from then on, it was just all Beneil.
Yeah.
All Beneil. And I think that was like maybe the first 2 minutes of the first round. So it was a really impressive performance. And I think the whole time I was just like, fuck, like, I just want Tony to do something so like people don't write him off, you know,
Right.
like people are like, he's done, like he needs to retire, blah, blah, blah. But like, you know, sometimes you just have a performance like that against a really good person. And, you know, maybe if Tony fought someone who wasn't like at that top level, like maybe he could still show, you know, just how much of a savage he still is. But, you know, it's like the same thing with Jacare. Like, you always wonder if it's worth it, if it's worth just seeing them perform in their past like glory, even though they can't compete with the top now. So it's a weird place to be, I think, in your career when you have a couple performances like this where you're fighting top guys and you are a top guy yourself, but you've just been out for not for your own reasons, just by circumstance, because of COVID, because of injuries, because of this and that. Like, he's just been out. Like, it's like Connor, like, strolling back in like 5 years after he fought. Like, hey guys, fuck everyone up, and then he got fucked up. You know, like the game evolves faster than any other sport. So like, these guys are training, they're getting better, they're fighting, they're taking their tests, which are the fights, where you take all the training that you've been doing and you see if it actually works or not. And if you haven't had that, then it's hard to just come in and destroy like you used to. So it's definitely a weird position to be in. Yeah. I think I'm good.
It is. No, it is. Well, and it's also, for example, Nick Diaz. What do we do with Nick when he comes back, right? Let's say Nick comes back. You can't give Nick a nobody because he's Nick effing Diaz, right? So, like, but does Nick get a top 10 guy? Because Nick might get spanked by a top 10 guy because the game has changed. Do you give Nick a legacy guy like a Condit again, a rematch with Condit, or which would be fun, right? Like,
for sure.
Or like a Matt Brown I can't decide, is Matt in or out? You know, you can't. I'm not sure where he is now, but like,
it's a weird one. But I think all those recognizable names that are still on the roster,
right?
Who haven't
Cowboy,
done
Diego,
yeah,
those kind of guys. Right.
who
But
haven't done so well in their last like handful of fights, their last
right,
five fights. Let's say they have a losing record in their last five fights,
right.
but they're a name and
But
everyone
they're a
likes them.
name.
Just have them all fight each other.
Pop them up, fighting.
Somebody's gonna win, right? Like it's
Yeah,
great. It works out for everyone.
exactly. And I will, and it's true, right? Because for me, yeah, like what do you do with Tony? Okay, you lost, but the people you lost to are great. And so that's the thing is like, well, does Tony become a gatekeeper, a quote unquote gatekeeper fighter that people, well, if you can get past Tony Ferguson, then you must really be a contender.
Yeah.
Does Tony, because he said he regrouped, right? And he had Freddie and he had different people with him this time. How serious was he about what he adjusted? This was an all grappling fight mostly, though. Does that mean, like, you know what I mean? To me, there's still a lot of questions with that result.
And you have to look at the people that Beneil fought who he didn't just dominate. Like they should probably be ranked higher than him at this point.
Yeah.
But the rankings really do set up legends like that for failure when they do kind of come off of their peak. The rankings kind of set you up where you do become a gatekeeper. And if this person beats you, maybe you move down one, but then you fight another person who's trying to make a name for yourself, and then maybe you move down one more. So it's like you get stuck in this position of like, okay, I'm always fighting the top.
Right, because I'm number 6. I'm always only fighting top people.
Yeah,
right.
I'm fighting the top prospects who are coming up, or I'm fighting the people who are above me. Right. And I feel like it's a shitty position to be in, especially if you are regrouping, if you're trying to, I don't know, figure out a new style or figure out a way to work around your injuries, work around, maybe not wanting to get hit in the head as much,
right.
trying to do like more of a grappling heavy approach. Like, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of things I might do once I get towards the end of my career, but I still feel like I have fight left.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not going crazy in the gym anymore because I'm old and I can't move. So I'm gonna be like working on standing and banging more, or like moving my head more without having to move my feet like Dominic Cruz, because that shit's tiring. So I'm trying to think like, if you're figuring on a new style or trying to evolve, like sometimes it is nice to have someone who isn't like top 5 to try that out against.
Right.
And unfortunately, like our legends in the sport never really get that opportunity.
You're right. Because like once you're in that sort of 6 to 10, 6 to 11 area, right? Like 6 to 10, you're only going to fight good people. But yeah, you might be sort of gatekeepery if you're a former number 2, number 1 interim champ or champ like that, right?
Exactly.
I guess even number 5, like 5 through 9 is probably even just dicey, right? Jeez.
Yeah, well, I feel like if you ever fought for the belt, were interim, or were champion, then you're always going to be fighting killers.
Like Dustin Poirier is only ever fighting killers.
Yeah, exactly. He's been fighting killers his entire career.
Gaethje only ever going to fight killers.
So it's like, what do you do when people like that start to fall off?
Well, and that's who's at the top now still, though, right? Because now we have Charles as the champion, but you have Poirier right there. You have Gaethje right there. Beneil, going into this one was ranked number 9, and Tony was ranked number 4, I think. Is that right?
Wow, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's right. And so obviously Benny's going to take a big jump. And Chandler will come down a bit, right?
Yeah, like 1.
For losing, right? So Poirier will still be up top. But
or Chandler might actually stay. If he's at 2, he'll probably stay at 2.
You're right. He could stay there.
Yeah.
Tony will come down a peg, though. Benny could go from number 9 to number 7 or something like that. Like, there could be... Anyway, that's interesting.
Anyway, we don't do the rankings. I mean, I feel like they would make more sense if we did them, but
To be honest, I was asked to be on the rankings committee.
Wow.
I was asked, and I actually declined because I thought that for a few reasons, that I might be too close to the situation. In a lot of ways, working with fighters, having friends that I'm fighters, having friends that could benefit from what I said.
Take the job, Karyn.
I know. I know. Maybe I'll revisit that decision. But I did think that, that I might be too close to the situation where as much as I would want to divest myself from the emotion of it, if I knew, well, smack, if I just help my girl or help my buddy out here, like it would be hard to be objective sometimes if I'm honest, and then also there was part of it was just like the timing of when you have to have that in, and like I'd be traveling back home from events, and like is it like just even the time to process the information, and but a lot of it was that having that proximity to the fighters and not necessarily knowing if that was a good thing.
Well, you have more integrity probably than 100% of the people who do rankings, so good on you.
Yeah, so I said no. Yeah.
Yeah, good job. Integrity, Karyn. Different from
okay. So I'm not sure what else impressed you at 262. So Caitlin Chukagian set she's now tied with Valentina Shevchenko, the champion, with the most wins in the division's history, with 7 wins at flyweight. And also Andrea Lee had the 7th triangle armbar in UFC history. So those two women set some milestones there. Like I said, that's in my after the facts here. But I actually was kind of impressed with Jordan Knight, who my friend Antony and Vladimir Matyashenko, they train him. Antony Hardonk and Vladdy are both former UFC fighters. And Jordan debuted in the UFC after being on, Contender Series, and he had this great, knockout, but then he lost a fight, and he came in and he just blitzed the F out of his opponent. Like, it was like so violent and fast. And his nickname is the Beverly Hills Ninja. And so he's just kind of this like nice, if I'm honest with you, just this kind of nice white bread American boy, bless his heart, no judgment, no hate. But like to see him then come out and do something as violent as he did is kind of jarring and shocking and quite funny, actually.
So
and just like you're like, oh, okay. So I put a tweet out. I was like, oh, we're smashing people. I get it. Oh, okay, because like when you look at him, you would never think he's the kind of guy to just inflict that much violence on somebody that quickly.
Dang, I missed that one. What did he hit him with? Like
I'm not even remembering what he hit him with first, but then he just kind of swarmed him with everything. And homeboy couldn't catch a breath with like what he was trying to fight off, and Jordan just completely swarmed him and finished him in the first round in a matter of seconds.
Nice.
So
well, that's pretty cool. So those are your buddies, and then you got to see his coaches get all excited about him just there it is. Whoa! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
Oh my goodness! Got little red splotches on his white leg.
I know.
Oh, the bow! I did see that. Yes,
he always bows.
He went like very. It was. I don't know. For some reason, that always reminds me of like American Psycho or something.
Right.
When someone does some crazy violent, like a white guy does some crazy violent shit, and then he gets up and goes. Like just plain man.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. His nickname is the Beverly Hills Ninja, right? Which is so not threatening, right? But you know what I mean? It's so that's what I'm saying. Like he's so white boy, and then he comes out with this violence. You're like, oh my goodness, I did not expect that.
Yeah, I was just imagining him like on the palm tree, swinging back and forth. I saw that movie recently, but yeah.
American Psycho, by the way, is a fantastic movie.
It is. I love that movie. Yeah. Shout out to Stephen Bonner. That's his nickname, right? American Psycho.
That was Stephen Bonner.
Yeah. That was very fit.
Right, but unfortunately, Stephen Bonner now is part of the Fabia
Oh yeah, the Fabia Fables. How funny would it be to make like a medieval like reenactment of Joshua Fabia and call it the Fabia Fables? Go, once upon a time there was a
And
fighter.
people hanging upside down and getting tortured.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It would like blow Robin Hood out of the water. Just saying.
Okay, so this brings up a good question though, because Fabia, I think we collectively have all decided is perhaps a narcissist, but at the very least dangerous in terms
Yeah.
of his influence, his potential influence on fighters. I think that's dangerous to have a guy who can sway somebody like that. So that my question to you, Angela, is like, how did you know, and how do you know? Because gyms evolve, right? Like, how did you know you found the right gym to train in? Because I hear from a lot of women that going to certain gyms, like sometimes it's tougher being a woman there because they don't take you seriously, right?
Yeah.
Or, people are just trying to hit on you there, or you do feel threatened and you don't feel safe, but then from coaches, I've heard that they are excited to work with women because women are more coachable, because guys roll up into a gym and think they already know everything because guys think they're so tough, and women show up and they say, hey, I'm here to learn. So
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of nuance into going into it. So I'm just curious how you knew and kind of what you looked for. Because I do think that a lot of people who listen to our show and watch our show might be women who are aspiring and are wondering about that, because I would imagine that's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, I think the best thing is to like fill out the vibe and make sure that it's a place that you enjoy going to. Because you can be learning from someone who isn't like the greatest fighter in the world. But as long as they know the basics and they're teaching good technique,
Yeah.
like, and you enjoy going there, you enjoy like the the coach's personality, you enjoy like the way that he sets the tone for the rest of the students, like that all like takes good coaching, like
Mhm.
you can't have like your students like talking over you, disrespecting like everyone else's time. You can't have your students like going too hard, being dangerous in the gym, just not respecting everyone's separate levels or amount of strength or technique. So to have a coach that's able to command the room, make sure everyone's training safely, and
Mhm.
also do it in a way where it's not overbearing like a drill sergeant. And like some people like the drill sergeant shit. So I'm not gonna say don't go to a coach that's a drill sergeant, because some people are like, oh, whip me, tell me I
Right.
suck, tell me how horrible and cutie I am, like
Right.
give me
5
home
more, 10
time.
more. Yeah, some people want that. Right.
Yeah, they want to puke, they want to like get knocked out. Like, hey, if that's for you, whatever. But you're never going to be a good fighter going to a gym like that. Or at least if you're not happy in the environment, you're never going to keep going.
Right.
So
Right.
that's my main thing is just like make sure that you enjoy going to the place. And that happened with my very first gym, Evolution Muay Thai in New
Mhm.
York. It happened with Alliance MMA. Like the first day I went there, I was like, "Hey, this is cool. I like the vibe."
Yeah.
Dom yelled at me for not sparring hard enough, so I was like, "Oh, cool. I don't have to spar light here. That's
Yeah,
cool."
nice.
You know. And yeah, it's like you kind of fill the room, and if you enjoy it, then you come every day. If you don't
Yeah.
enjoy it, you always find an excuse not to go in. And I say that's the same with like any sport too. Like if you're trying to find a sport that you're into, to like for me, Muay Thai was just to get in shape. Like I never wanted to be a fighter.
Yeah.
Um, and every other thing that I tried to get in shape, I was so bored out of my mind. Like I hated yoga, I hated spin class. I'm just like, this is stupid. All this is stupid. And I went to my first Muay Thai class, and I like was punching things and kicking things. And I'm like, oh, I have so much power in my little limbs. So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to be excited about it, and you have to be in a place where the coach commands the room and
Yeah.
they don't let their students like run the class. They're running the class. And I feel like that's like one of the most important things. And once you have
Mhm.
the the students running the class, like it's the same as like having a fucking a kindergarten class
The
running.
inmates running the asylum. Right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like they don't know what they need. They don't. They're never gonna. We're never gonna admit what we're bad at.
You're never
Like
going to practice what you don't want to practice and what you're bad at. Exactly.
exactly. And we're not gonna practice the hard shit either. Like every gym that I ever or every coach I ever talked to, they're like, "Yeah, we tried to introduce a wrestling class and no one would show up." So it's like, you're never gonna do the hard stuff unless like you
Right.
really get told to and you respect the person who's telling you to do it. So that's a big part of it. Respect. You enjoy working with the people and in the place, and
Right.
it's a safe environment. Those are my big things.
Well, and that's very good to know, and it's funny because I'm on just this tennis team, and we had a match today, and my partner and I, we won and everything, but we have this coach guy who is kind of a jerk and has actually run a lot of people away with his vibe, and a lot of us have left, and I actually walked away for a while too, and that it's a lot of what you're saying there. It was like I would come home and I'm like, wow, this is supposed to be fun, and this was supposed to be like I'm just doing this for fun. Like
Yeah.
it's a hobby. I'm not getting paid. You're not whatever. Like, and I come home and I'm in a crappier mood than when I left. And I didn't, it's not satisfying. And like, you're bringing me down, bro. And so it was very frustrating and I was like, I know it's not supposed to be like this because I play with other coaches or with other people and it's fun. And I know for me, being able to joke around with somebody, being able to, I need an environment, a playful environment. Like,
Yeah.
I need you, I'll work really, really hard as long as, like, we're having a good time. And, like, so I have these other coaches, right, where we can BS with each other or whatever, but I'm still hustling like crazy. I just know, what suits me. And even when I would go to, boxing gyms or taekwondo gyms and stuff, like, like that was always important to me to be able to laugh with somebody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand when people are like, "Oh, bow before you speak to me," and like raise your hand, and you can't go to the bathroom until I tell you to. Like, I'm respectful, Like I'll
Right.
ask. I won't just like fuck off and not tell anyone. I'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. If that's cool, But if they say no, like I never expect them to say no. Like if you say no, I'll be like, "What?" No, I'm an adult. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm just letting you know. I'm just being polite.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like always. I don't know. It's always like I feel like people just come from maybe they taught too many kids classes,
Maybe.
or and like kids do need that discipline where it's like fall in line, do this, do that. But then like even still, you need a little play at the end of the class so the kids don't like hate it, like because I'm sure their parents are making them do it. So like the trick is to make the kids actually want to go to class so they
Right.
can see their friends and they can like learn how to beat each other up and then they can play with them afterwards. So
Exactly.
so adults need play too. Otherwise, it's just like it's school. It's
For
sport.
sure. Well, that was our thing. We're actually grown ass women too, right? Though, so like, we just wanna have some fun. So speaking of being a grown ass person, I want to bring it back to the fights for a second and ask you about Jacare because this hurt my heart. He is a wonderful guy, and he's one of the guys when he's a strike force. I have this funny video, or maybe I should share it here. That we did the two of us playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots together. I'll put it up here. People will be like suggested video. Look at that.
Yeah.
But we played this whole funny Rock'em Sock'em Robots thing, and we had like this fight. And Jacare is just a great guy.
Yeah.
And I've introduced him to my mom. Like he's and he's just a doll. And to see when our fighters get a little older.
Yeah.
And we see them losing. And to see them losing is one thing. And Jacare's been, had lost a few fights. But Muniz had said he was a better grappler. And this was this whole thing. We were going to be proving the grappling. And he got his arm broken. And they kept replaying it. I was like, guys, you know what? We could maybe not replay it for the 5th time. Like, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then where they isolated the sound of it and everything like that. Like, that was kind of bumming me out on there. And then they're thrown
Yeah.
back and people are like, hey, remember the time Jacare was in a jiu-jitsu tournament and he just tucked his broken arm into his gi so he could keep going,
Oh,
which is
damn.
amazing.
I never heard about that.
Yeah, apparently that's a thing where he just, I think, tucked his broken arm into his belt or something in his gi and then just kept going because he knew he could win on points by that time.
Legend.
It's like legendary, apparently.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
So, but so for me, it's like I love him, but I'm happy if Jacare just now goes off and goes only jiu-jitsu, kind of like how I hope Damian Maia does. You know, next month will be his probably finale fight against Bilal. And, you know, Damian is a genius and a smart man and an incredible competitor. Just ride off into the jiu-jitsu sunset. Don't get punched in the face anymore.
So was that what started off? He got rocked and then dropped, or
And then they got in this tanglement, and then the way that they got entangled in he was trapped, and there was just no.
yeah, and it sucked because it looked like he was slipping out the back door, but then it was, oh no, this was on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
he's not falling off of your back. He's like doing some crazy shit. That was slick, man. That was a really slick submission. Like, I did not expect that to happen. And the only reason I appreciated the replays is because my ESPN Plus kept going fuzzy right as the submission. I'm like, wait, what happened? And I'm like, wait.
Yeah, so they played it a lot. Yeah.
Like, if it was blurry, you couldn't see what was going on. You're just like, why did he tap? He was out. So yeah, that was the only reason I appreciated the replays. But yeah, man, that's insane. And then, and like, he's such a G too. Like, the way he just stood there and was just like, oh, it's broken again.
It's broken.
Yeah. I guess we got to stop the fight. I mean, I could keep going, but
I'll keep going, but whatever.
Yeah.
Rules, schmools.
Rules for mortals, I guess. Man, he's such a legend. Yeah, it definitely, like, that's the part that scares me, is when the chin starts wearing down, because you never want to see these legendary fighters end up, like, you know, just with all these mental deficiencies once they get older. And like, a lot of times you don't see it until like much later after retirement, but you can see it in the making. Like one fight you get dropped once, next fight you get dropped 2 or 3 times, next fight is like the first punch you get dropped, like, okay, maybe you shouldn't be getting hit in the head too much anymore, because like, yeah, the brain doesn't heal. Like, everything else heals. His arm will heal. It'll be like maybe back to like 95%. But your brain will never recover what it lost by getting shaken around in your skull. And like, you see so much of the horrible effects of CTE with the football players, and like, believe it or not, they take way more. Oh,
it's crazy. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Like, from a kid to an adult, like, they're taking blows by blows by blows,
constantly.
like way more than we do.
Oh,
but
for sure.
But once you get into that zone where you are getting dropped more often than you used to, then you have to like think about that. And I always tell Adam, like, hey, if I just keep getting submitted, just make me go to jiu-jitsu class. But but if I'm getting knocked out over and over, like, tell me to sit my ass down. Like, you have permission to tell me to stop, because like, I'm gonna regret it, you know, when I can't remember your name. And I can't remember, like, that I have a kid, you know, like, I'm going to regret that shit. So, yeah, there's definitely more important things than going out on a win, or, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and Jacare has kids and stuff, and Damien, you know, luckily, you know, I know at the end of the fight with Colby, Damien got banged up a little bit, and, you know, there were a couple times where he got banged up, but in general, Damien, you know, hasn't gotten like smashed a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the fight, you know, next month with Bilal, that's a good fight for him, and that is a good like send off fight. And I know there was talks of like Damien versus Khamzat Chimaev. They're like, yeah, no, like no smash. Like, you know what I mean? Like, give me somebody who is a challenge and who is, you know, talented, but like maybe not the 22-year-old pit bull or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
you
knocking
know,
everyone out.
because yeah, I think Damien wants a competitive fight or whatever, but a fight that like he won't die on the way out. You know what I mean? He wants his wits
Yeah,
about him. You know,
yeah,
it's yeah, it's tough. And now, like the good thing is if you're looking at and you're seeing Chris Weidman is walking right and seeing that kind of
yeah.
stuff and but he had me scared because I'm looking at you know some of his posts and he's talking about like well they talk about you know, like the lower leg being the hardest part to get the blood back to and he
Oh
like mentioned that like well there's a possibility of amputation. I'm like oh sweet Jesus like
no,
dude like don't even
so
speak that
nonchalant.
word into existence like what are you saying? Like, I legit freaked out while I was watching his Instagram
Yeah,
thing about that. And I'm like, and I wrote on there, I was like, don't think about the worst possible outcome. But
yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, don't, like, you, what? Don't tell me that word.
There's kind of a little bit of of acceptance when you're a fighter, though, where you're just like, oh, I might not have all my teeth, you know, when I retire, I might not have every part of my every bone in my body, like, excuse me.
But don't just
Even,
casually float it out on the, don't just casually float on the gram. Hey, it's Tuesday, guys. Just checking in. Might lose my leg. What's
yeah,
up? Like,
no, there definitely is like a bit of acceptance there though. Like you know, like you're sacrificing pieces of your body for the sport. And it sucks, you know, it sucks, but like after a while you become desensitized to it. You're just like, oh yeah, poked in the eye, can't see out of it. Hope that goes back to normal, you know. Fingers crossed.
but there's no part of you that worries about staying pretty.
No, I mean, like at this point, like what am? No, I'm good. We got doctors that can fix that stuff. You know, Doctor D's pretty good at the superficial, superficial abrasions.
Stitch, right?
Yeah, but yeah, like after like maybe your first couple of fights, you're like, oh, I'm not gonna let anyone touch my face or something like that, or like I'm too slick, no one's ever gonna punch me. But like once you do take a little bit of damage, you're like, ah, it goes back. You know, everything kind of goes back into place. Like my nose gets broken and it's like curved over here. I can get it fixed when I retire. You know, you don't really think about it after a while. Your body becomes a tool as opposed to like this thing that you're obsessed with looking a certain way. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a little humbling in that sense, like putting yourself through these like through these like battles where you come out looking crazy, you know, and
Yeah.
when you didn't go in looking like that, and then your face goes back to normal, and you know you appreciate not looking like a monster, but at the same time you're like, hey, you know, it is what it
So,
is. My body is a vessel, you know. I am what's inside of my body, which is why the fucking brain damage scares me so much. Because it's like, okay, you're fucked up on the outside and you're fucked up on the inside. Now
right,
you got nothing.
right,
You're just a shell.
right. Yeah, no, I can see because I mean that's the thing, right? Like people are attracted often to people with scars. So like so the scar thing, yeah, like the physical repercussions of your career, you know, aren't necessarily going to be a problem to you in your life, like moving forward after your fight career. Because oh, dude, how'd you get that badass scar? Well, I was a cage fighter, son. Blah 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 blah. Right? Like
Yeah.
whatever. But yes, you don't want the brain damage. Yeah, you don't want that.
Well, I don't want
Um,
the scars too. Like, I don't think they're sexy. I just think that, you know, it's part of the sport. It's like you ever see the hockey players and they have like the flippers
I
on their,
can't with the no teeth.
yeah, yeah, they have the flippers. So like if you smile, like they have teeth, but if they get punched, they flip back and they mess with them with their tongue. Like it's kind of like they accept that, yeah, I'm gonna have a fucked up smile, you know, like
But I'm a badass hockey player. No, I
yeah,
get
but
it.
I'm a badass hockey player, so it's like it's
I get it. But
yeah,
and that's
it's
also
trade off.
honestly like when Whitaker after his fight, a few weeks ago when he came to the desk with us after the show, And that is something that he's talked about. Like he even said, he said, I don't know what it is. Like there's something about me. That he was saying like the way he's wired, he likes to go out and like literally like battle for his survival, right? And like battle for his winnings and battle to like win this thing to take home to the family. Like there's something just the way that he's wired with that very primal thing of go out, you know, kill, murder, slaughter, whatever you need to do and bring home, and then like to the victor go the spoils. Like, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's hot as hot.
Hey, well, that's one thing. That's one thing.
I mean,
Unless you're a girl and then it's just intimidating, no one wants to date you.
No, but I was just like, oh, okay. But I know that like women feel that too, because like I feel that way too. Granted, it's on a totally different stage and a totally different scale, but I have a very much an aggressive, overachiever, hunter killer, apex predator mindset. You know what I mean? I definitely have that, and I do appreciate that. Like you guys all, I mean, obviously, clearly, have to have that.
No, we do. And I mean, there isn't much in this day and age that's merit based. Like,
no,
totally.
It's not a meritocracy at all.
Yeah, and obviously, like, you know, some people get a leg up in the UFC or whatnot, but it's still like you go in and you fight each other and someone gets to win. And if you work hard enough, if you're skilled enough, if you're lucky enough that you get a finish, like there's nothing that anyone can take that. No one can take that from you. You finish this person, you get the money, you get the bonus money, even like winning a bonus, like you just feel like you're the baddest motherfucker in the planet. Like, you're just like, yeah, because you won that bonus over all the other fights.
Oh, really? Is that the
all
most
the
thing?
Other fights on the card, your card was the one that got the bonus. You're just like, yeah, like I earned that shit. Like I earned that win.
Really? See, I guess I've never asked that. I didn't know you guys like really ball out on that much.
It's definitely like it hypes you up. Like if I have like a hard fight or if I get a finish, I'm just like, oh, you think I got a bonus? And then I'll watch the other fights. I'm like, well, it was fun thinking it while it lasted. But every now and then, like I'll luck up. Well, unfortunately, my 2 bonuses were losses. But
they were fight of the night, right?
Yeah, fight of the night bonus. But it doesn't let it sting a little less. Right. But you do just like go out thinking like, hey man, like that was the best fight on the card according to this.
Yeah.
Bonus. So it's kind of like it's an ego boost, and it adds to that feeling of going like fucking killing, getting whatever you like worked for and bringing it back home, and now you have this big chunk of money, and now you're just waiting to do it again, waiting for your food to get low so you go on another hunt. It's a cool way to make money. Like I'm like it definitely is. Like I never thought I'd be a person doing what I'm doing when I was trying to make money doing other stuff.
Right.
Like when I was bartending, when I was animating in an animation studio, I never thought I'd be doing it this way. But when I was working those jobs, there were always times where I'm like, damn, I'm like a way better bartender than this person, but I never get the good shifts, you know? Right. Or I'll be like, oh, I've been working real hard on this one scene, but like they're not gonna put it in the show, you know? And it's like there's always like little moments where you just feel like, man, like all the hard work that I'm doing right now, it's just going to other people who have better connections, who have this and that. And it happens in MMA too, but at least you get a moment where you're locked in there with another person. Imagine getting locked in there with someone who's competing for the same promotion.
Like I would F a bitch up who is up for like a hosting job. I'd be like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Bring it.
Imagine if that's how they settled it. Like
if there was a host off, all them bitches going down.
Yeah. Imagine if like the election. the presidential election, you get two motherfuckers, two old ass motherfuckers, and you make them fight each other. Like, I bet people would be way more into that than watching the fucking
Right.
like states turn red
You're
and blue.
right.
So it's like, yeah, there aren't many things in life that exist where you get to just like primally win what you win.
Win. And absolutely. So yeah, so you think of yourself as a prize fighter then?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right, because I'm always working for the man, you know what I mean? And believe me, like there's a lot of me that's like, well, what I do for a living, like, you know, you used to be able to be like, when there was only NBC, ABC, and CBS, you're like, well, I can't host a TV show from a living room. But obviously you can now, like things have changed.
Yeah.
And so some of that is changing, and maybe I'll be able to do that. But yeah, like there is, you know, a big part of me that's like, well, even if I think I'm a badass and I'm the alpha predator or whatever, like I still have to like work for somebody else to do it. Like, yeah, I don't just get to go and like out host somebody. Like believe me, give me Kelly Clarkson, all these bitches with TV shows, and Drew Barrymore and all these whatevers. Like, I want my own late night talk show. That's my dream job.
Yeah.
Give me one day when what's his face, Seth or whatever, or these people will need a day off. Okay, Jimmy Fallon, take a day off. Let KB sit in. Okay, whatever. Kimmel. Give KB. I'll slay that. It just doesn't work that way. I'm number one in the rankings, Angela. I'm number one in the hosting rankings, and I'm just not getting my shot.
You are, because I'm actually on the hosting rankings panel, and despite all my connections, I have no integrity. And I said, Karyn is the best.
Number one in the hosting rankings.
Yeah. But don't get it twisted though. I also work for the man. Like,
yeah, we all work for the man. We all work for the man.
We all work for the man. Like, there's no getting around that. I don't think ever.
No.
But at least I'm making a decent living punching girls in the face. Like, that's
exactly.
Like a dream job, if you will.
Exactly. All right. Well, so listen, we should wrap things up here, but so how are you, like, mentally sort of dealing with the fact that you kind of have a fight, but you kind of don't know if you're going to have a fight?
I just act like I have a fight. Like, there's, like, the worst thing is to come in half-cocked to a fight you knew you had, you know?
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I just act like I have a fight. And if anything, like a lot of times I'll see my fight camp as a race. And if I hear that someone's doing bad, I'm like, okay, well, now we lap them. You know, now we just like keep going. You keep pushing the pace. You don't slow down, because you never want them to get a chance to catch up.
For sure.
So I'm doing, like, you know, I'm working just as hard, if not harder. I'm sprinting just as hard. I'm getting my sparring rounds in. You know, I'm grappling as often as possible. I'm hitting, cracking pads hard. You know, I want to lap her. I want to make a statement. And, like, if anything, I'm inspired by Marina Rodriguez's performance, and I'm like, dude, I can do that to this girl. I just gotta, like, be ready for it. So I'm also being realistic. I'm also looking at who else they might give me, and I know they threw in Virna's name, Virna Jandiroba.
Yeah, Virna Jandiroba.
So I'm guessing, like, maybe the fight got pulled or something. She was supposed to fight on the 19th. So yeah, I'm staying ready for that too, like making sure my submission defenses are up to par, my scrambles are good, you know, like making sure I'm learning.
Stay technical. Yeah,
just staying technical, not going like,
whoa, yeah, if you can go meat and potatoes and stay technical, then
little T-Rex arms. T-Rex arms, keeping legs tight, don't give her my heel. But yeah, like just being ready for whatever comes, making sure I'm in the best shape possible for fight night. And yeah, that's all you can do. Just, like, keep your fingers crossed, hope that no one gets sick again. Everyone's good to go.
Hope so. Awesome. Well, hopefully, and I'm working this coming weekend with Alan Jouban, and Bilal Muhammad is making his debut, which will be really fun. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. So on Instagram, I'm KB Heat. Everywhere else, Karen Bryan, Karyn. Bryant as in Kobe, no relation, but may he rest in peace. Where can they find you, Angie?
At Angie Overkill on Instagram and Twitter, and Overkill Hill on TikTok.
And Twitch? Wait, what's your Twitch?
Oh, my Twitch, I don't use it really anymore. Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't Twitched in a long time. I've been playing my Switch
Yes.
that I can't hook up to Twitch. I think I can. I just haven't hooked it up because I'm always playing it portably. I'm just like on the couch, like.
I gotta get you hooked up with my daughter then. You guys will have to play Animal Crossing together or something.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Awesome, awesome. Remember, folks, this show is also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. So yeah, it's called What Had Happened Was. Thanks for checking it out. Tell your friends.